Well, I have Andrea Bishop here from the Electric Quilt Company with me today, and we're going to find out about how to find inspiration from vintage quilts for contemporary patterns using the computer. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So let's take a look at this vintage quilt we have over here. And what was it about this quilt that you wanted to extrapolate to put into a contemporary pattern?
I liked the squares within the squares within the squares, and I thought that if I skewed them, I could get rectangles that would have a lot of movement to them.
Well, this quilt here, this very contemporary looking quilt top, is very different, but you found the inspiration from the vintage quilt for this.
Right. It's the same exact little square in a square and in a larger square, but because you set it into a diamond position, you end up with something that looks kind of like lightning.
Well, why don't you show us how you do this using your computer?
Okay. Well, if we move over to the computer screen, here we have the pattern as it was.
And this is a special software to do this?
Correct.
Okay.
So you have all sorts of traditional quilting patterns in here, and you can just go get a different kind of layout. So in the layout library, instead of doing the basics by size, we'll go into basics by style and just grab this star layout. So now when we go and edit,
and that quilt that you have up on the screen right now looks very much like the vintage quilt.
Exactly. So now when we edit this and set in the vintage patterns, you start to get this rectangle effect.
And it's skewed it.
Right. And so if you add color,
and would you go into a different color menu for that?
you can recolor it however many ways you want. And then, like if you wanted to do the pink to bring out these here and maybe the background. Okay, so that looks hideous, but you get the idea. You can do a lot of playing and end up with something that looks completely different. So here you see the lightning effect, and it'll work with any kind of block.
So you can load your own fabric. If you have a particular fabric line that you love, you can load that in and see what that would look like on the screen?
Correct. So if you wanted to try maybe blues or something, or even a different type of block. I had a lot of fun with crazy blocks. If you go in and you rotate them.
Okay.
Now watch this guy spin.
Oh, that's neat.
So you end up with a lot of different patterns just from traditional blocks.
Well, let's see what happens, because you actually print this out.
Once you have a finished quilt design, you print out the quilt so you remember where to put the pictures.
And these are the fabrics?
So you know how much fabric you need. That's the yardage requirement.
Okay. And then the templates.
Right. Templates are 100% accurate, so it's great for getting all of these rectangles a specific size and not having to rotary cut 32 degrees or something weird like that. So.
Well, Andrea, this has been terrific. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
And that's our show for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.